Hi, if you weren't here on the day before, this is what we did in class. So we went back to WonderFL and we are going to sign in. And I'm going to sign in with Google because that's how I signed in here. You want to make sure that you're at wonderfl.net and hopefully now you see welcome and then your username. In there, we're going to go down to My Actions. And you're going to find your program that you worked on. So I'm going to just click on my program. And the program that we worked on should have a package, 2 imports, a public class hello, function class hello, and then we declared a variable as a text field. And I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to go to edit. Now, if you want to change the name, I think you guys might have something that says flash and the date. You want to go to edit here. And you can call it hello. So make sure you call it hello so that way we know. If you want to give a description, you can. You could say this is our beginning program using text and functions. And then you're going to save. All right, so just to recap, remember that every program we have is going to start with a package. You're going to have opening and closing curly brackets. So the curly brackets are basically saying it's the beginning and the end. And we're nesting information inside the package. So this is the beginning of the package right here with the opening curly bracket. And this is the closing curly bracket. Say it's the end of the package. Inside the package, we are going to have our import flash display and our import flash text. Those are importing Flash libraries. So that way it knows what language we're using and can utilize those unique words that are for ActionScript. Inside this package, we have a public class hello, and that extends the movie clip. Now, we then have an opening curly bracket for the public class. So this is the opening curly bracket for the public class, and we have a closing curly bracket for the public class. So you'll notice the public class section is inside the package. So I think of it as like nesting dolls, or you're nesting things inside of each other. You're putting them inside each other. So our public class is inside the package. Then we have a public function hello. Notice that our class and our first function is called the same or named the same, hello and hello. Notice that for functions, we have an opening and closing parenthesis, and then we also have an opening bracket and a closing bracket for that function. So the public function is one section. It's within the public class, and that public class is within the package. Yesterday, we talked about declaring a variable, so I declared a variable inside my public function hello. I said it's part of the text field library, and every time I call upon my variable t, it's going to create a new text field. You'll also notice that when we have our public class and our public function named the same, it's going to run immediately. It'll compile, or here I'll say recompile, and then it'll show up on here, on this stage area towards the right. Also make sure, folks, that it's saving. Sometimes it doesn't always save right away, so, or it should save all the way, but just make sure that it's been saved and save often. All right, so let's talk about putting some text in there. So we declare a variable t. It's a text field, and every time we call upon it, it's going to create a new text field. Then what we're going to do is we're going to actually call upon the variable. So the variable, we named it t, so we're going to call upon t. And I'm going to assign it to text. So to do that, I'm going to use the period and then type in text, T-E-X. I'm going to say my text now is going to have some text. So I need quotation marks and I'm going to write something, and I'm going to write hello world. Closing quotation marks and then a semicolon. The semicolon says this is a line, the end of the line, and it needs to be executed. So my program needs to read it. It needs to know that I am taking my variable, which is the letter T, I'm saying it's text, and I'm assigning that variable T to the words hello world. So kind of just like in math when we have the X variable, we're now created a variable T. And then I'm going to add child. So I'm going to put it on my stage. And to put it on this white area on the right-hand side, you're going to use the word add with an uppercase C for child, opening paren, and inside the paren, we're going to call upon that variable that we named, which is the letter T, closing paren, and semicolon. Now you'll see it's compiling here. It's compiled, it's reloaded, and hello world should show up on the screen on the right-hand side. So again, we need to declare the variable. That's what line 8 does. Line 9 assigns text to the variable. And line 10 says, let's put it on the stage by calling upon the variable T, which is in essence the text. All right, now we can actually talk about placing our text somewhere on the screen. So remember, math, you have the X and Y axis, where the Y-axis runs vertically and the X-axis runs horizontally. Same thing applies with this area here. So for the X-axis, it's going to start at 0 and go all the way across to 400. So 400 pixels. And for the Y, it's going to start at 0 up here, and then it's going to go down 400. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to go on line 10 before the word add child. I'm going to hit enter, and then so that way I can create a new line. I'm going to go back up to line 10, and I'm going to call upon my variable, the letter T, and I'm going to say it's going to be on the X-axis. So I have to assign it to the X-axis. So I'm going to use the period X equals, and let's just put it in the middle of the screen. Let's do 200, semicolon. I'm going to let it run, compile, and look, you'll notice that it's now 200 pixels over to the right. Now I want it to drop down, so I'm going to go back to my program, hit return, t.y, so now I'm talking about vertical space, and I'm going to go 200 pixels down, semicolon, so that way my program executes that line. And now you'll notice it is. So 0, 0 would be way up here. 0 pixels from the x-axis, 0 pixels to the y-axis. So it's now going 200 pixels to the right and 200 pixels down. And now you have hello world. And you've created your first program. So congratulations.